Hi guys, my name is David and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be talking about Shaded Grove by Oliver C. Seneca. Oliver is a very good friend of mine as I have read all of his books and he's a really interesting author. He's an author which is a horror-based author, and all of his work seem to be getting better and better in quality, and he seems to be somewhat improving. But with that said, he does feel a bit um, safe. I do wish that he kind of took risks in his writing and his narratives, but I'll go through that all in a minute. Shady Grove is a very new release. Only a thing about a couple of months old. It came out this year, and Oliver really wanted me to review it. To read it and review it, and he sent me a free Kindle copy. And yeah, I, as I said, Oliver is one of them authors which I will read anything that he writes or publishes. So before I go any further, let's just go straight over to Oliver now, where he'll just be talking a little bit about his book. I will say additionally that when he was sending me the clip, he told me that there was some sort of technical difficulty, so the clip kind of abruptly ended with the audio, or the audio cut out right at the ends. But I will try to do my best to edit the clip ever so slightly.
What is going on, everybody? This is Oliver C. Seneca, and I am back again for the third time on Mr. David Walton's channel. First of all, I got to thank you, David, for having me on again. Always being so generous with your time, putting me on your channel, reading my books, giving your honest feedback. I really appreciate it. Today, I'm here to introduce my brand new book, Shaded Grove, young adult horror novel about two sisters getting trapped inside of an abandoned mental hospital, and all the crazy spirits they meet and all the twists and turns that happen throughout. It's a short little book. It's brand new, just came out. I think you guys will enjoy it. I hope David enjoys it. He's been such a good man and good friend of mine, helping me out, supporting my work. And David, I'm passing it back to you.
So thank you very much, Oliver. I will have all of his details linked down below, all of his contact details down below. He is a booktuber as well, and booktuber / authortuber, and I will have that all linked down below, all that great stuff. So this is going to be more of a laid back video discussion thing. This is going to be a spoiler-free discussion about Shaded Grove, and this is going to be my own thoughts and feelings regarding the story, as well as Oliver's writing style and his progression as a author. I will say that I have also read and reviewed his other two books on my channel, so I will have them linked down below in the description as well, if you so wish to give them a watch. So Shaded Grove is a very simplistic story at its core. It revolves around two sisters who are called Megan and Diana. I'm pretty sure that's what the second one is called. Megan is the older one and Diana is the younger one. And their relationship is overall a good one, but it's very complex. And the reason why that is because Diane always has this strong belief and fixation on the paranormal and ghosts and spirits, or whatever you want to call them. And they go around together, going to all these different haunted locations, or supposedly haunted locations, and to try to find evidence of these hauntings and these supernatural occurrences in these spooky different locations. We don't really get into a lot of these locations that they went to in the past. One of them is that there's a seance which is a big part of the book. And when you're reading it, you'll be thinking, well, what's this got to do with our main story? But to that I say, it does have a, it is important to the plot at the end. So my advice is to pay attention to them, to flashback seance scenes, as they all tie in together. It's like this giant jigsaw puzzle. So when you're looking at the scattered pieces, you're not sure what the picture's going to look like in the end, but trust me, it all comes together. So Megan is the complete opposite of her sister. She is a skeptic, and even though she loves her sister to bits, she's always driving her to these locations and trying to support her sister as best as she can and being a good big sister. She is very, very skeptical about this, and that's putting it lightly. She thinks that all this paranormal stuff is BS, and she thinks that it's complete rubbish, and she's always debunking it and saying, "Oh well, they've done this because they want to get your money, and it's not real." But she kind of goes along with her sister because I suppose um, she wants to try to protect her sister because of like driving her to these different locations. So she's making sure her sister's safe. But as I said, she's trying to be a good sister. So one day when they are driving in the middle of the night, they come across this mysterious entity standing in the middle of the road that forces them to crash their car. Now they are wandering around in the forest after this, trying to find help, trying to find somebody that's got a phone so they can call for help. They're in the middle of nowhere and they just need to do this. So they come across this abandoned hospital in the middle of the forest, and they discover that this building is a mental hospital. Now, when they go into it, they come across all these strange and unusual characters. I believe that there's a quirky caretaker that opens the gates for them and lets them in. And when the two sisters are in this building, they come across or they witness all these patients being escorted by their nurses, and some of them are insane. They're screaming, and they're just, the nurses are trying to do their best, I suppose. But both sisters physically see these people. Now, the book does imply or kind of make you think about if these people are really there or if they are in fact ghosts, because the hospital itself, the asylum or whatever you want to refer to it as, does sound like a abandoned structure, like an abandoned building. There is graffiti everywhere. There is massive gaping holes in the floors, paint peeling off the walls, the ceilings falling down. But strangely enough, it has all these patients walking around. So after the two sisters get separated, Megan gets locked in a room and Diane can't get her out, and she has to try to venture out into the asylum to rescue her sister from this room. Megan's not in any danger or anything like that. She's just trapped in this room and she can't get out. So her sister has to try to go and get help or find some means of getting her out of this room. And when Diane is walking around the asylum, she comes across all these paranormal events, these ghosts that she interacts with, and they interact with her. And they tell a story about themselves and the asylum and what really happens. And I wouldn't say it's scary. It's more atmospheric slash kind of creepy and atmospheric. It kind of gave me the impression when I was reading that Shirley Jackson book, The Haunting of Hill House. That's kind of the overall feel of this book. And for the majority of the time, we spend most of our time in this story reading from the perspective of Diane, where she's interacting with all these supernatural things. And we do read about Megan when she's in the room. I believe she comes across these ghosts herself, but she's not in the book that much when she's trapped in that room. She's really I think she's more in the book at the beginning and at the and at the end. And I thought it was a kind of a missed opportunity that the two sisters' roles weren't reversed. Like Diane was trapped in this room, and Megan had to go out and venture out into this supposed haunted location, and she was trying to debunk all these creepy things happening. And I thought that would have been better because Diane was is a believer in the paranormal, and she doesn't need any convincing. But I thought that it would have been more powerful, more like appropriate for Megan to go around the hotel trying to, not hotel, the hospital rather, trying to rescue her sister, and coming across all these paranormal events and having to confront them and to have her skepticism challenged and making her a somewhat believer of the supernatural, and thinking, oh my god, my sister was right all this time and I was wrong. Because coming from a skeptic myself of this, I recently, for Halloween of this year, went on a paranormal ghost tour of a local theatre and didn't see anything. I thought it was completely rubbish. So I knew where Megan was coming from, but I thought it would have been better if Oliver kind of switched them two roles with the sisters who were trapped in the room, and one had to save the other one. So at the end, the sisters discover that there is a reason why they are in this abandoned building, why they are in this asylum, that there's a reason for them to be there. And when they discover the reason, I won't say what it is or what's the reason. What I will say is that something from their past has brought them to to this location. Something from their family's past has brought them to this location for a very, very specific reason. When I read about it, it was a good twist, but it wasn't the best twist at the end. It was it was an okay twist, but it wasn't the best, if that made sense. So in the end, Megan and her sister have to try to escape the asylum and like leave this building and flee this location. So that is the overall story. It's a very simplistic story. What I liked about it is I liked the flow of this story. As I mentioned at the start, I've read all three of Oliver's main books, and I've read one short story by him. Apologies, Oliver, I can't remember your short story in Lurking in the Dark. I know he's got a couple of other short stories in different anthologies, I believe 2 or 3. But with his novels, I've read all of them. And with each one, he gets better and better and better with his narration and with his writing style and his storytelling. He improves with every single novel. His first one, I can't remember much about. His second one, Faces in the Window, I can remember very, very vaguely. But this one, I finished it for about, must have been going on for a week and a half now. at the recording of this video anyway, and I can still remember quite a bit about it. I'm not sure whether this can be classified as adult horror or whether it can be classified as YA horror. I mean, to me personally, I think that it's kind of on the border. This can be uh, easily given to a 16-year-old to read. It's not all bloody and gory. Oliver's not an extreme horror writer. But with that said, as I mentioned at the start, I do wish that he would kind of take risks in his writing. Like I mentioned with the two sisters' roles being reversed, where one of them had to save the other in this location, as well as some of the ghosts. They could have been more threatening, like having one that was electrocuted or having electroshock therapy, and being having their ghost being constantly electrocuted and having that frightful encounter when you're reading it, and having all these real tortured souls that are in so much pain and agony from what they experienced in this hospital in the past, and then not being able to rest. And I thought that he could have not made it all bloody and gory and all that stuff, because Oliver could never ever be an extreme horror writer. I don't think he has it in him, which fair enough. There's actually nothing wrong with that. But I think that he could have made it like more scary and push the boundaries just a bit more on when you're reading this this book in bed. You're like so scared. You got like the covers tucked up here, and you're like right up against you, and you're like all like looking around because you're all scared. I think, oh my god, what noise was that? And you're like so scared about the ghost in this book. You're like paranoid about the slightest things going on around you. I think that's what would kind of elevate Oliver on his fourth book if he wrote more about the scares and focused more on pushing the boundaries. Not saying that he has to have trigger warnings in his books, but making it more scary and creepy, and making you like jump when you read the book. I think that would be the next logical step in Oliver's evolution as a writer, coming from someone that's read all his novels. So I think that's what I disliked about it. It was a little bit slow in places as well. But what I liked about it is I like the relationship between these two characters, Megan and Diane. I mean, we spend most of the book with these two characters, so fair enough, we have to like them. I like their kind of relationship with each other. I like the writing style. I like this story, and I like the setting of this location. Yes, this book was a bit confused at times. I think that it seems that it didn't really know what it wanted to do and be. Like, it talked about this seance, and then we were talking about the location in general called Shaded Grove, and then we were talking about the asylum. Yes, we can have exposition and backstory, but it didn't really have it didn't really have a satisfying flow to it. But with that said, this book is a very, very good read. I would highly recommend this to a horror fan or someone that's trying to get into horror. And also, if you've read The Haunting of Hill House, then I would highly recommend that you would read this book. I think that you would enjoy it. So this is a book that I would highly recommend regardless of its flaws. or the flaws I saw in it, rather. I want to be fair, guys. I did enjoy it. I think that this is by far one of the best books that Oliver has written in his career. But I want to be as critical as I can because I enjoy reading Oliver's writing. I can't wait to read his next book, but I want him to kind of improve as a writer, so I want to be as critical as I can. So what I'm going to rate this book, I think I'm going to rate it a 3 stars out of 5. That may sound like a very low score, and you may be thinking, well, that's a very low score for his best book. Yes, I suppose it is in a way, but I think it's a fair score for this book. If this book was like really scary, and if it like pushed the boundaries of the ghosts, like 13 Ghosts, the movie, or the Haunting of Hill House, the one with Catherine Zeta-Jones, I think it is. If it had them type of ghosts in it and that atmosphere, or Rose Red, the Stephen King miniseries, if it had that kind of mysterious atmosphere, and yes, I suppose in a way, The Shining, that would have elevated it to a 4 stars, but it wasn't quite there. But I can see the progression of Oliver and his writing and his storytelling, and I can't wait to read his fourth book, because I know it's going to be even better than this one, and hopefully he can take all of my constructive criticism about this book and about his storytelling and his progression as a writer, from my eyes and from my perspective, and take that and put it into his story, because I would love to read a very, very scary book by him. Yes, fear is subjective. We all find different things creepy and disturbing and frightening, but but I would really like it if the next book that I read by him made me like question what was going on around me, and the noises at night time, like the wind blowing up against the window, or the rain, or all these strange noises going on out in the dark. I think that would make his fourth book or his next book like that extra special. But with that said, guys, as I said, Shaded Grove, highly recommend. This book was an absolute pleasure and joy to read. But let me know, have you read this book? What did you think about it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? I also want to say thank you to Oliver for sending me, for reaching out to me and for sending me a copy of this book, and for being very patient for me to get round to it. It was a joy to read this, and I can't wait to read your next book, whatever it may be, or whenever it may be. So thank you so much, and hopefully my feedback for Shady Grove has given you some ideas about how to go forward, in my humble opinion. So guys, that's been my video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and with all that out of the way, I'll see you on my next video.